What is going on, SK followers? Today I am back with another video for you guys. Today is something very special I want to show you. I didn't think of showing this till now, but since we're getting all hyped for Avengers versus SK team, which by the way you could buy the shirt, you can have 5 Robux, and I'm also doing a giveaway for the SK team versus the Avengers. So might want to tune in to the SK team versus Avengers to see what it's all about. Now, another thing we need to talk about is this. The fact that these books even exist are crazy. I mean, come on. SK Team comic books? I mean, we also need to explain a couple of things about these comic books. The thing is, these books are nothing like the show, okay? The show is like Spider-Man Homecoming. And the comics are like the first Spider-Man movies. Let's just say that. So, now we got that all settled. Let's get into the comic books. So, I'm going to be explaining a couple of things so that way you understand. The SK Team comic books, this was the first book. In this first book, oh man, lots of things happen. AKA nothing. I didn't have a story for this one. So it was just showing off the SK team without a story. Kind of not the best way to show off your new superhero team. But, yeah, that's how it went down. So, now that you know that, we can talk about the other things about this. First off, why are Poke's eyes blue? I guess I had limited crayons, except for the fact that his eyes should be, you know, I don't know, black or brown. I don't know. One of the two. Shouldn't be that color. But alright. Now we know that. It's time to talk about the real thing. Why are there only 4 members on this cover of the book? Well, I'm going to explain this. So, the original SK team was Fire Kid, Dr. Awesome, Claw Kid, and Pole Kid. In the show, however, it's kind of different. So, they all kind of just met at the same time. I kind of didn't want to go for the whole original SK team sort of thing. So, we just went with that. They were already there to begin with. So, now, I'm going to just have a story one day where I show you how they met up, how this all started. Until then, yeah, that's how it started. Alright, next thing I want to show, Agent D. Okay, so, who the crap is Agent D? That's a good question because I don't even know. Agent D was supposed to be the Nick Fury of the whole thing. The problem was, he was worse than Nick Fury. He didn't really do anything for the books. This is the only book he really showed up in, unless he was a surprise guest or a cameo. He didn't do anything for the SK team, nor the book. So, that's why he's not even in the show. We had no reason for him. He's basically useless. Useless character. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. He had a bow and arrow. And the SKA does not exist in the SK team show. So, now that we know that, let's move on. So, there is a pole ship. There was such thing as a pole ship in the show. But, yeah, it's kind of the same thing as the comic. We kind of got rid of it for a mansion. We'll kind of explain it later on down the line, but until then, just need to know that there was such thing as a pole ship. It's kind of like the helicarrier. Alright, now we're going to move on to the next book. But first I want to show you something. Look what this thing says about Claw Kid. It said he was 9. If you know my age, you would know this a long time ago. Because gosh dang, I'm far from 9. I'm a teenager, my guy. I'm a freshman in high school now. So, I mean, take that with it. Take that as you wish. Now knowing that information. So now, we need to talk about the next book. Where do I begin? There was no Weapon Man. There was no Weapon Man in this book. I know, you're kind of shocked. No Weapon Man in the book? Isn't he supposed to be, I don't know, the main villain of the SK team? He is. But when we made the books, he never had a book. He was always, you know, it was either the character I'm about to show you now, Weather Boy, or Mighty Boy, I think. Notice how we keep beating up boys. Anyway, we never had a girl villain either. So, could see some new stuff in the SK Team show. And these characters could show up in the SK Team show. I really doubt it, though. Since we have a freaking Weapon Man, who is the main villain, we really don't have to worry about anyone else. Not too much, at least. Not too much at all. So, Weapon Man was not in the books. And another character was in the books, but not in the show. And his name is Ice Spider. Now, I've mentioned Ice Spider. He did have a couple of appearances in the SK team. Actually, no. He's never showed up. He has never showed up. And I doubt he ever will. Because he is not really part of the SK team in the SK team show. He had no reason to be part of the SK team. Because, well, let's just say, technically I didn't have the rights to him. So, you know how Spider-Man got bought out from Sony to Marvel? Yeah. Say I'm Marvel and Mimnick's Sony. That's what happened with Ice Spider. Now say that Sony decided to buy Spider-Man back. That's basically what happened. He got kicked off the team because Mimnick just didn't want him on the team. I really don't know. You have to ask him. But I was like, okay, he can leave the team. I don't care. We can have 8 members. That's even. So, 8 members has always been in the SK Team show. 8 members will probably stay in the SK Team show. Unless we start doing an Avengers thing and add too many members on the SK freaking team. So, let's talk about another thing for the SK Team show. Yeah. So, in this book, we actually killed someone. Now, in the SK Team show so far, we have not killed anyone. So far, at least. So, this was pretty, you know, big. But, I mean, I'm not real sure what you would actually do about killing people. I mean, you'll never see them again, yes. They'll probably never show back up, but, I mean, it was an alien, so it still had a life. That kind of counts. Now, Weather Boy. Let's talk about him. Weather Boy was kind of like Weapon Man in this book. He had a backstory, though. He was an original member of the SK team. Yes, there were 10 freaking members of the SK team. Now you know why I try to shorten it? Because there were so many members, you can't keep track of any of them. At least now, in the SK team show, you could probably name some of the members if you've seen the show. Now, Weather Boy, of course, had the power of, well, weather. He was kind of a bootleg Storm. That's it. He literally was a bootleg Storm. The only difference was one's African, one isn't. So, take that, plus the fact he was in the SK team for a very short time, 2 days, and yeah, he became a villain. What was his motive? Because whole kid was a bad leader. To him, at least. So, he wanted to lead the world himself. So, that's what happened. Now, the next book, it shows Mimnick. Now, you might be asking, oh, was Mimnick part of the SK team? No. That's it. That's all you have to know. Mimnick wasn't part of the SK team. Here's why. Because, for the sole reason, I kind of wanted to make it feel like, one, whole kid didn't trust Mimnick. It's like another story about Spider-Man. Long ago, before DC and Marvel hated the crap out of each other and tried to rival each other in different things, DC and Marvel actually teamed up in a comic book. And Spider-Man was in that book. He was about to join the Justice League when Batman said he couldn't be trusted. He just didn't feel like he was ready. That's basically what Polkit thought of Mimnook. He just wasn't ready. And so Mimnook ran off to make his own team, and, you know, we don't talk about that team. So, now we're going to scroll over here to the mansion. That's what the mansion looked like in the book. You don't really get to see too much of the mansion in the show. Basically the fact that, how am I supposed to build a mansion for the whole freaking show? I mean, come on. You really expect me to go all the way? Alright, it even says here, does this mean I'm part of the SK team? No. Polkit just does not think Mimnook's ready for the SK team. That's basically how it's been. Is he in the show? I don't know. We've been discussing it, but I don't know. You're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, one hand, that would have to reveal a couple of things about Mimnook and the team he got, but, the other hand, you know, we can just ignore that. Either way. And this book was the last book for Ice Spider. Now you see why he doesn't even show up in the show. Because he left the team in the comic. Done and done. So, once he left the team in the comic books, we kind of just forgot all about him. Yeah, that's what happened in the book. Now, the last book of the whole thing. This was the last book I made until, you know, left for YouTube and became a YouTuber. And I introduced the SK team to you guys, and so far, the SK team gets a couple of views. And that trailer, though, got a bunch of views. And I love it. So, this was the last book. This book introduced a whole lot of things for the SK team. The first time we did not see Ice Spider and the Avengers. That's right, it introduced the Avengers. You can kind of guess where the idea for the Avengers vs. SK team came from. Now, they were in the book, but they've never met the SK team in the show. So, SK team versus the Avengers will be the first time the SK team see the Avengers. And, yeah, that's basically how it's going to go. It's basically how it's going to go. Now, a couple other things. Design has changed for the SK team. Like you see, Mr. Steel is actually a steel man instead of a couple of pieces that don't look like humans. Mr. Steel also is a human. So, just want to point that out there. Next up, you see that Dr. Awesome has an afro. Yeah, that was a design choice, and it was a bad one. We didn't really want him to have an afro anymore, because it just looked weird. It just didn't fit Dr. Awesome. Plus, he was the brother of a brown-haired guy who has black hair. So, it didn't really make sense. But, yeah. Next up, we also introduced them pretty quickly, I'll say. Once we got the idea for them, we didn't really give them a story to join the team. They just simply joined it. So, yeah. But, it's a bit different in the SK team show. You'll see. And, I'll have to admit that, story-wise, the origins for the characters did change. We had to change a couple. The one for Mr. Steel was pure crap. The one for Ice Spider is still kind of bad, but it's not my problem anymore. And, yeah, that's about it. That's all we really have to say about the SK team comic books. Another thing is that a lot of things have changed from the books. Like, no joke. If you pick apart some of the pieces, you can see that Weatherboy kind of has inspiration for Weapon Man in the show, as they both have green and red. And also, you can kind of tell that, many characters did not return. So, like for instance, no more Ice Spider. I don't think we're going to have Ice Spider in the show, probably. There's no reason for him to. He's with Mimnook now, so, who isn't even the show anyway, so, don't know. But, that is the SK Team Comics. that's all I really had to say about it. I mean, you can see that I tried with the art, but I mean, it wasn't the best. Let's just say that. They were okay, but they weren't the best. It was a meh comic, but you know, there was a bunch of other comics, you know, like introducing other characters that are not even in the show, but you know, all in all, I believe that we took some ideas from the comics. We took some ideas from the comics, so we could definitely say that the comics kind of did happen, and we took apart some of them, as you know, the whole thing for the show. But I kind of felt like this is where the show's gonna go. So pretty much, yeah, that's what happened before the show ever happened. Let's not even get into the fact that before that happened, I mean, there wasn't much. We had an idea for making a superhero team, and Polka was the first superhero made before I was. Yeah. And, yeah, it's all craziness. I'll have to explain it in another video. But thank you guys so much for listening to this. Yeah, you got my explanation for a lot of things, like why Nixon not in the SK team, why some of these characters are in the comic are not in the SK team show, and all that other stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.